What is cyberpunk? It's a question that, honestly, flickers like a faulty neon sign in a dark alley. It's the taste of acid rain on your tongue, the hum of a server farm hidden behind a noodle stand. It's the reflection of a city that never sleeps, mirrored in the chrome of a prosthetic arm. Cyberpunk isn't just a story about the future, it's a feeling, a warning. And yeah, a glimpse into a world where technology has outpaced our humanity, where the lines between the real and the virtual have blurred into an indistinguishable gray haze. It's the grit under your fingernails after a long night spent jacked into the Matrix. This genre is a specific flavor of science fiction. It's definitely not about gleaming starships or utopian societies. It's about the street. It's about survival in a world saturated with information and controlled by unseen forces. Cyberpunk looks at the future from the bottom up, from the perspective of the outsiders, the hackers, the data thieves, and the street samurai who navigate the digital and physical underworlds. Cyberpunk did not appear out of thin air. It grew from the cracks in the pavement of traditional science fiction. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, a new generation of writers began to feel that the old stories of space exploration and grand, clean futures were no longer relevant. The world was changing. The personal computer was on the horizon. Punk rock was snarling on the radio, challenging authority with a raw DIY ethos. The optimism of the space age was fading, replaced by a growing cynicism about corporations, governments, and the direction of technology. The mood was shifting, and fiction needed to shift with it. The central slogan of cyberpunk is high-tech, low-life. This phrase really encapsulates the genre's fundamental contradiction. It describes a world where incredible technological advancements exist alongside widespread social decay and human misery. You might see a man with a state-of-the-art cybernetic eye begging for change on a street corner, or a data courier with a multi-terabyte storage unit implanted in his skull living in a squalid shipping container. The wonders of the future are not for everyone. They are commodities, controlled by the powerful and accessible only to those who can afford them or are desperate enough to steal them. The city is more than just a setting in cyberpunk. It's a character in its own right. It's the sprawl, the megalopolis, a vast, sprawling urban environment that has swallowed up the towns and suburbs of old. Think of Chiba City, Night City, or the rain-drenched Los Angeles of Blade Runner. These are not clean, orderly places. They're chaotic, overpopulated and layered, with gleaming corporate towers piercing a sky perpetually choked with smog, while down below, life teems in a labyrinth of crowded streets, black markets, and forgotten underlevels. In the cyberpunk future, nations as we know them have, faded in importance. Their power has been usurped by new entities, the megacorporations. These are vast multinational conglomerates, the zaibatsus, that control every aspect of life, from technology and finance to food and entertainment. They are more powerful than any government. They write their own laws, field their own private armies, and operate with impunity in the extraterritorial enclaves of their corporate towers. They are the new gods, faceless, all-powerful, and utterly indifferent to the lives of the individuals crushed beneath their weight. To understand cyberpunk, you must know its icons. In literature, my own novel, Neuromancer, is often cited as a foundational text. It introduced many of the key concepts: the Matrix, console cowboys, cybernetic augmentation, and the powerful zaibatsus. The protagonist, Case, is a washed-up data thief given a second chance, a classic noir anti-hero dropped into a high-tech world. The book's dense, evocative prose and its vision of a networked future help to define the genre's style and substance. Another crucial book is Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash. Published a decade after Neuromancer, it took the core ideas of cyberpunk and injected them with a different kind of energy. Its protagonist is literally named Hero Protagonist, a pizza delivery driver for the mafia in the real world and a master swordsman in the metaverse, his version of cyberspace. On the silver screen, one film stands above all others: Blade Runner. Released in 1982, before Neuromancer was even published, its influence is immeasurable. It established the visual language of cyberpunk. The perpetual rain, the towering buildings flashing with advertisements, the mix of cultures on the crowded streets, the noir-inspired narrative, all of these became hallmarks of the genre's aesthetic. Cyberpunk did more than just tell new kinds of stories. It fundamentally changed the way we, as a culture, imagine the future. Before cyberpunk, the mainstream vision of tomorrow was often one of two extremes, either a sterile utopian paradise or a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Cyberpunk offered a third path, a future that was neither a perfect world nor a complete collapse. It presented a future that was messy, complicated, and recognizably an extension of our own present. This perspective has been incredibly influential. This new way of seeing tomorrow, this Gibson gaze, if you will, has permeated our culture. Look at the design of modern video games, the aesthetics of music videos, or the architecture in blockbuster films. You will see the influence of cyberpunk everywhere. The neon-drenched cityscapes, the focus on body modification, the anti-hero hacker fighting against a faceless corporation. These have become common tropes. Why are we so drawn to these dark, rain-soaked futures? What is the appeal of cyberpunk's cautionary tales? Part of the allure lies in the fantasy of empowerment it offers. In a world that often feels overwhelmingly complex and controlled by forces beyond our grasp, cyberpunk gives us protagonists who fight back. There is also a deep aesthetic pleasure in the world of cyberpunk. The imagery is powerful and evocative. The combination of decay and advanced technology, of grit and glamour, creates a unique and compelling beauty. The neon glow on wet pavement, the intricate detail of a cybernetic limb, the abstract beauty of data flowing through the matrix, these visuals are intoxicating. Furthermore, cyberpunk speaks to a sense of alienation that is very modern. The characters are often loners, disconnected from traditional communities like family or nation. Their primary connections are forged online or in the crucible of the streets. This reflects a feeling many people have today in our hyper-connected yet socially fragmented world. The stories validate this sense of being an outsider, of navigating a system that feels impersonal and cold. The final question is not whether the world of cyberpunk is coming, but whether we are already living in it. The line is blurring. We carry powerful computer terminals in our pockets, connecting us to a global network of information that was once the domain of science fiction. We voluntarily surrender our personal data to massive corporations in exchange for convenience and connection. We curate digital versions of ourselves on social media, identities that are just as real to some as our physical presence. The sky above the port is not yet the color of a television tuned to a dead channel, but the static is getting louder. Consider the landscape. Megacorporations with market caps larger than the GDP of many nations influence politics, media, and our daily lives. We see the stark contrast of incredible wealth generated by the tech industry alongside growing inequality and social unrest. We see biohacking communities experimenting with implantable chips and genetic modification in their garages. These are not plot points from a novel. They are headlines from today's news. The fiction has become a field guide. Cyberpunk, then, should not be read merely as a prediction of what is to come. It should be read as a challenge. It asks us to be conscious of the choices we are making, both as individuals and as a society. It urges us to be critical consumers of technology, to question who benefits from each new innovation, and to consider what we might be losing in our rush toward the future. So, as you put down the book or turn off the screen, look around you. Look at the glow of the phone in your hand, at the targeted ads that follow you across the web, at the surveillance cameras on the street corner. The world of chrome and circuitry, of data streams and corporate power, is not a distant fantasy. We are jacked in. The most important thing cyberpunk teaches us is to stay aware, to question the system, and to remember that the street, our street, will always find its own uses for things. The future is here. What you do with it is up to you.